Hello everyone, my name is Seb Valentin and welcome back for yet another video. Today we're doing a quick reflection video. I'm doing this right before I go into work, but don't worry, we'll still have a lot of value added onto this because today we're going to be talking about comparison. And that's something that plagues a lot of people nowadays, is they look at other people or other things and they, again, a central theme I think we talk about a lot on this channel is sometimes we don't feel enough. And comparison really invites that evil in, not feeling enough, not feeling like we are worthy in the sight of others. But as I mentioned before, we only need to be worthy in the sight of God, which we already are, every single day, every hour, of every second. So today's verse is going to be Romans chapter 12, verse 6. And it says, we all have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. I mean, and just to break it down, this verse is pretty cut clear. You know, it tells us exactly what we need to know in a very explicit manner. It doesn't beat around the bush. It tells us exactly, you know, we are all different, but we all have different gifts. We all bring something different to the table, according to the grace given to each of us. That grace is given to us by God. So basically, what this whole verse means is that because we all bring something to the table, we're all worthy, we're all important, we all have value. No matter what we've heard in the past, or what others have made us feel, or whatever situation you might have encountered where you feel like you have to compare yourself to someone else, or you feel like you're not enough, you bring something to the table so unique, no one else could ever replicate it. And that, right there, that ability to do that is enough for God. Something we don't understand is we get wrapped up in worldly things. It's a common theme in humanity. You know, we tend to forget about God. And when we forget about him and just get wrapped up in worldly matters, we listen to people and take it extremely to heart when a parent compares you to someone else, or maybe even friends, which I would even call friends, compare you to other people. You know, it's a lot of people, they perform this evil of comparison. And sometimes it's not even intentional. Sometimes they do it and it's like, it slips their mind. They don't even think that what they're doing is like planting a seed of evil within you. But again, we live in a broken world. So it's not up to the world. You know, like it's not, we shouldn't rely on the world. We rely on the Word of God. And this right here tells us very cut clear that, you know, we are here for a reason, doing our individual thing according to God's will. We each bring value and substance. And maybe sometimes where the line can get a little bit blurred when comparison comes in is when two people's gifts are similar, and maybe even their gifts sort of interact with each other. That's when comparison might be at its strongest point. But you got to realize the uniqueness of each person. Every single person that is living today, that has lived in the past, and that will live in the future is created uniquely through Christ's image. That person will bring something to the table that no one has ever brought before. And I think that's the beauty of community. That's the beauty of being Christians. You know, we get to share in this with everyone. We get to share in this melting pot, if you will, of all these different talents and all these different things that we can create through our free will, and something that we can all enjoy, something that we can all take part in. So if you ever feel like, you know, someone compares you to someone, or someone did it in the past and it's stuck with you, just understand that you can take over that thought of comparison by replacing it with the thought of, I'm unique in my own way, and God created me in this way for a reason. There is a reason. And something you could do too, if you're maybe struggling to find the reason, is ask God for guidance. Ask Him to guide you and to show you, what is my reason? What is my quirk of uniqueness? And God will unveil His light unto you and will show you why you are here. There should never be a reason to doubt your worth, because we are worthy. When Jesus died for us, and just being created in God's image, we are worthy. And so some actions that I applied, and that you guys can also apply to this verse and this whole topic of comparison and worth, start with something simple. If you yourself compare yourself to others, try to stop doing that by replacing that thought process. So instead of saying like, oh, like so-and-so does this so much better, X, Y, Z, the other thing, replace that thought with, oh, I did this like this today. Maybe it wasn't the best, but I'm going to work on getting better at it. Make it a you versus you thing instead of a you versus everyone else, because then that just adds unnecessary pressure and makes you feel like, you have to live up to this, I don't know, like greatness per se, which we're all great in our own manners, and something I do want to say here too is I don't want to just say like, oh, don't do anything and be lazy and it's all good and fine. No, like you still have to work for things in life, and you still have to, you still have to grind. You still have to go out and do it every day, in terms of like habits and good habits and things of that nature. But by you doing that, that is enough. You don't need to look at what other people are doing every single day in, day out. They have their own things going on in their lives, and you have your own things going on in your own life. So just stick to what you're doing and trust in God's plan. Like I mentioned earlier, ask Him for guidance. That's another good action, is to pray about it, pray consistently. And then another thing, going back to the thought, like if you have a thought of unworthiness, or a thought of, you're comparing yourself to someone else, and this is a good practice for anything, you can use this against thoughts of anger, thoughts of lust, is to just immediately squash that thought. As soon as you have it, it should be like a switch within you that just stops that thought and it's like, no, I'm not going to think that. And then you think of, you flip it to something else, like a you versus you sort of thing. And make sure to have compassion with yourself too, if you switch it to a you versus you, because that could also lead to some toxic, like, oh, like you're not good enough for you. But remember, we are here to carry out God's perfect plan, perfect will. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. It's a bit of a shorter episode, but I'm glad you guys are here for the journey with me. If you enjoy this content, I ask that you share with your friends and family, and that you join me for the journey. Thank you so much. I'll be praying for you, and I ask that you pray for me. God bless.